Okay, so with rotation 1, here we are. We're starting with this team on serve. First thing that you're going to see here, that's going to be the setter. Okay, and this team does follow the typical lineup order in which the setter is followed by the outside 1, the middle blocker 2, if you can see my mouse, the opposite, then the other outside 2, and then the middle 1, who is currently being replaced by this team's libero. So you'll notice, you can see that they're starting in lineup service order. So the player who's right up next, closest to this right sideline, is in fact this player here, and it's hard to see, but that's player number 8. Okay. The player to serve after her, who is the middle blocker 2. Okay, we can't see her number, but she's there, and you can see that she's standing in between these two players. This last player here, not quite sure what her number is, but you can see that she's the last player in the front row to serve. So she, being the last player up to serve, is going to be required to stand or start closest to the left sideline. Now, I know we've talked a lot about the front row players when it comes to lineup order, but the rules also apply to the players in the back row. Okay, so this player here, who I guess would be in the left back position, okay, in this lineup order, needs to start closest to the left sideline than any of her other 2 back row players. Obviously, the player that's serving, well, she needs to start behind the end line to serve, but the player that's in between them here, number 11, or the middle blocker 2, needs to simply be in the middle of these 2 players. Now, there's a minor detail to that. This player technically is required to start her serve from the service area, which is completely behind the end line. So actually, this player currently can stand anywhere she wants here without having to worry about overlapping with the server. To make things easier, the only thing that she really needs to be concerned about is the player who starts in left back in this service order needs to be closer to the left sideline than she is. Okay, let's jump into it. Here's a serve. You'll see that the players switch to their base positions. Okay, you'll watch it one more time. Outside's going to go here to the left front. The opposite or right side's going to go and switch into her base position at right front. And you can see here that the back row players have also gone to their base positions. All right, so they lose the rally. Now they're going to go back into serve receive. Okay, and the player that I'm interested in watching here is number 8 to see where she goes. Ah, there it is. Okay, so this is the lineup rotation formation that we used in practice. Okay, she is the player who is right up next to serve. And I say right up next because I think that's a useful mnemonic device to remember who needs to be closest to the right sideline out of the front row players. Okay, so the player who is right up next would be this player, again, required to start closer to the right sideline. Of the other front row players, okay, the player to serve after her is here, okay, can stand anywhere in between or monkey in the middle. Okay, the player who is currently in the middle front zone needs to be the monkey in the middle. Okay, and then the last player in the front row in line to serve needs to be starting closest to the left sideline. That's another mnemonic device. Last player in the front row in line to serve needs to start closest to the left sideline than any other front row player. You can see that the player who just served, the setter right here, okay, right after you serve, you need to be closest to the right sideline than any other back row player. Okay, the player currently in middle back in this lineup order needs to be the monkey in the middle. Okay, she needs to be the monkey in the middle of the other 2 back row players. Okay, and then the player starting here in the left back area or zone in this lineup rotational order needs to start closest to the left sideline. Okay, the last thing that I want to cover here is your front and back row corresponding players. Okay, so this offset here, this player who is occupying the right back area needs to be closer to the end line or closest to the back line, okay, than her corresponding front row player. Okay, this player who is in the right front area or position of the court needs to start closer to the net than her corresponding back row player. Okay, so that's why you see this offset here. Similarly, the monkey in the middle in the front row needs to be closest to the net than the monkey in the middle in the back row. Okay, so not much to worry about there. That's pretty straightforward and pretty easy. As for the left front and the left back player, okay, you can see again, the left front player is closer to the net to start than her corresponding left back player. All right, and these rules, these positional requirements must be met at the moment that the server makes contact with the ball. After that moment, people are free to go to their specialty positions. If you are a front row player, you can do things in the front row like block and hit, in which the back row players aren't necessarily allowed to do. Certainly as a back row player, you're not allowed to block. You are allowed to hit and attack. However, your attack, there are rules to that where you have to attack from behind this 10-foot line here. So there you have it. Okay, and the next thing we're going to be watching for is, again, let's see what happens here once we get into transition. Will number 8 and number 9 try to switch to their base positions if they don't score? Okay, let's see if they do it or not. We get in transition. There's the switch. Okay, so they did get to base. Did it cost them a point? No. Okay, so it worked out. Play on. Blocked. Okay, so they lost the side out point, the side out rally, so they're going to have to try again. Okay, so notice how the outside here, number 8, comes back to pass. This is what we call hitter split. Okay, so here's a hitter, and she is split from the other 2 hitters. Okay, I made another video that if this player were over here, then all of them would be stacked here on the left side of the court together. But in this example, these 2 hitters are, well, this hitter and this hitter are split. Okay, let's see what happens in this play. Bad pass, high ball, attack to the outside. There's the switch again. Did you see? Okay, so if we don't score right away, we want to look to see if there's an opportunity to switch. So this player here is looking. This player here is looking. Now you can kind of see, I know it's a little fuzzy, but she's checking out over here to see if her teammate is in position to switch. Okay, there you can see again, they're turning and looking. All right, and they're doing all of this while the other opponent is, completing their dig and setting up their transition attack. Okay, so it happens pretty quickly. All right, they're able to switch. Got the block. Rally continues. Kind of a wild bang bang play. Didn't work. Okay, so let's watch that whole thing one more time. Okay, here we go. There it is. They do get the switch. They're able to set up the block and defense in time, so that was a good switch. However, they were unsuccessful in winning the rally point there. Okay, so they're going to try again. There it is. Better pass that time. Set or dump. There's the switch. Okay. So notice how they are looking to switch. Okay. And make that switch happen before the rally either continues and they get a transition attack, or, as you can see, they're not waiting to see if the ball is going to get dug or not. They're switching. Okay, and they're ready. Should this ball be returned, they would have been ready. Okay, so they win the side out point. Here's a little substitution going on, something that we've talked about. Okay, outsides, you might stay in the game and serve and play back row, or you'd get subbed out. Okay, and we'd put a defensive specialist, someone who's maybe a little bit stronger on serve or stronger on defense, ball control, passing. Okay. And now this team is rotated into what we're going to call rotation 2.